Several times a year, my comic book store, my local comic book store, does this sale where it's like 50% off of back issues and 25% off of trades and supplies and all that sort of thing. I mean, they know I have a problem buying comics, but they do this anyway, and it's so annoying because then, there's never a better time to go stock up on books that I need to cross off my list. Um, anyway, yeah, I went and bought a whole bunch of back issues for half off, and some of them are pretty cool. Some of them are, just kind of run fillers and stuff like that. But thought I'd show them. Um, this first, um, I got this miniseries, this World of Krypton miniseries that they were selling as a bundle. I basically paid $1 per issue for them. Um, it's pretty cool. It was written by John Byrne. The interior artwork is by Mike Mignola. Unfortunately, they didn't get Mignola to do the covers. These are actually, I think they're penciled by John Byrne and inked by Walt Simonson, which is still pretty cool. But I mean, I would have liked to have seen what Mignola would have done. You see, some of his DC covers are pretty awesome, like the whole Death in the Family covers on Batman. Um, yeah, stuff like that. Anyway, so I got issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, and issue 4. And these aren't super high grade. They're mostly mid grade. 4 is actually the lowest grade. It actually has this tear across the bottom and part of the page folded back. But yeah. So I may have even overpaid. I'm not sure, but um, it's still a cool miniseries. And, it wasn't that much. Not that big a deal. Let's see. I grabbed this one out of a box. This is the first issue of, I think, the second series for Amethyst, Princess of Gem-World, which is like DC's fantasy book that's part of the DC universe. Well, I guess one of their fantasy books. I mean, Warlord. Um, but yeah, it's just a late bronze or early copper. It's right around there. Cover says January of '85, so I guess that's right around. For me, I always say like um, Marvel went into the Copper Age with Secret Wars, and DC went into it with Crisis on Infinite Earths. So this is right around that time. Um, and let's see. This is the second copy of Archer and Armstrong #0 for me. I just picked this up to upgrade the version that I have. It's the first appearance of these characters, and um, I love Barry Windsor Smith. He's probably my all-time favorite comic book artist. Um, and I got this when I was a teenager, and I read it a bunch. So it's got my original version has a bunch of spine ticks and everything. So I just got this because it's a very nice copy, very sharp. Okay, set these aside and go on to New X-Men #5. This book isn't really worth anything. I mean, they had a $3 cover price on it, so I got it for $1.50. This is actually my second copy of this as well because I found one in Half Price Books not too long ago, but this one is nicer, much nicer. And the Half Price Books one was okay, but it definitely had some spine dents and stuff like that. So this one's definitely better. This is the first appearance of Pixie, who is a character that Matt Fraction did a whole bunch with during his X-Men run, and she's been, more or less one of the medium popularity ever since then amongst the X-Men characters. I don't think she's really been used in any other media. Maybe she's been on some animated series or something. I'm not sure, but nothing major. But this is her first appearance, so I just wanted to get a really nice copy of that in case it ever blows up, because you never know. I found a copy of Howard Chaykin's American Flag #1. It's a really nice copy of that. So classic indie book from the 80s, long-running series by a major creator. So that was pretty cool to find. I got a copy, well, this is a second copy for me of Ghost Rider #15 with the glow-in-the-dark cover. I was actually looking to fill in some holes in my Ghost Rider run for the second series, but they didn't have any of the issues that I was missing, which were all, I think, under issue 10, but I couldn't pass on this for, what, $3? And the version that I have is, again, I got it when I was a teenager and I read it a bunch, so it's not super high grade, it's mid-grade. This one, on the other hand, is really sharp, and it's a black cover, so it's one of those books that shows spine ticks really easily. So it's nice to have a much better copy of it. Move on to some Rob Liefeld. New Mutants #89. Rob Liefeld cover inked by Todd McFarlane. I always thought the covers that were inked by McFarlane looked so much better than the ones that Liefeld just did by himself. I wonder why. No, I don't. And then I also got New Mutants Annual #5, which is another one that was drawn by Liefeld. I was trying to, complete the whole Rob Liefeld era of New Mutants, that whole run. So I think at this point, the only ones I still need are first print of 87 and Annual #6, and then I'll have the whole thing. So that's kind of cool. Even though I'm not a big fan of Liefeld. All right, so a couple of Wonder Woman run fillers. I love these Brian Bolland covers. I haven't read these, so I don't know what's going on in this issue, but it's just kind of weird. This alien-looking chick, like, I don't know, window dressing or window shopping or whatever. Wonder Woman's costume. So I got that, and I got issue 71. I do love these Brian Bolland covers. I want to get this whole run as well. Slowly putting it together. From the New 52, found a copy of Batgirl #2 for $1.50. That's amazing. This is, I think this regularly goes for, I don't know, close to $10. But anyway, really nice Adam Hughes cover. I think he did the covers for the first 6 issues of this run, so I was trying to get those. And I also found #5. This is not the last we'll see of Mr. Adam Hughes. Found the first issue of the, what was this, like 2014 or something like that, run of Carnage. Really awesome. I think it's Mike Del Mundo. I think he did the cover. I think he did most of the covers on this run. And some of them are really cool, so I'd really like to get all those. But I figured the first one would probably be... Well, I say the first one might be the hardest to find, but there's another issue where... I think another symbiote character has their first appearance during this run at some point, and that one might be harder to find. I'm not entirely sure. And then I also found Superior Carnage #1 with this really, really nice Clayton Crane cover. I do like Clayton Crane's work. Okay. All right, we got Justice League Europe #6. Any guesses on what what this issue is? The significance of this issue. This is the first cameo appearance of the Crimson Fox, who was like a French superhero. And she's one of those characters that I remember when I first started getting into superhero comics. She was one of those characters that was always kind of around, just on the periphery of my awareness. But I never really read anything with her in it. And I don't know, she seems like one of those characters that could totally show up in the Arrowverse at some point. Assuming they haven't already used her. I don't even know, but I haven't heard anything about it. But yeah, so this is her first cameo appearance. Her first full appearance is in issue 10. I need to get that one as well. And then there's another one later on with a nice cover that she's on, which has her origin in it. I can't remember what issue it is. Maybe 20 something. I don't remember. And let's see. Aquaman #2 from the Peter David run. This is the issue where Aquaman gets his hand eaten by piranhas. So it's kind of a minor key. But yeah, I saw this one in the back issue bins. I'm like, yep, I got to get that. That's just funny. It's just one of those things. All right, so continuing on my quest to get the first issues of all the original New 52 comics, I found a copy of Supergirl #1. What did I say? The first issues of all the original run of New 52 comics. I hope that's understandable. I mean, I hope my meaning is clear there. But if not, I blame DC. So yeah, Supergirl #1. Never had that one. That was cool. The funny thing is, I actually went through my I was going through my collection lately because I was like cataloging everything after the flood and everything. I was just checking to see what all I had and where everything is. And I was going through my New 52 box, and there's like 3 series where I thought I had the first issues, but it turns out they were all second prints, which is really annoying. But I did find a Swamp Thing #1 first print. So I got this. I don't even know how that happened because I got them the week they came out. So, or at least I thought I did. I don't know. But I have the second print of this, but now I have the first print as well. I just need to find the first prints of Demon Knights #1 and Resurrection Man #1, which apparently isn't going to be easy because I guess they weren't ordered in huge numbers, so there doesn't seem like there's many of them out there, even though I don't think they're worth anything. Okay. Now you may recall in the last one of these sale videos that I did back in February, I may have put the video out in March, I don't remember, but I was getting the George Perez Black Widow story from Marvel Fanfare. I got issues 10 and 12. I found a copy of #11. So that's awesome. And one that George Perez didn't do the cover for. This is actually an Art Adams cover, but #13 is the last part of that story. This one's got some spine dents in it, but it's not too bad. Okay. So those are cool. I think there's like one more issue of Marvel Fanfare that I'm looking forward to. Anyway. Okay. So the original Dark Horse Aliens miniseries, I have the first issue, and I saw these in the bins, so I was like, I might as well get these. So I found issue 2, found issue 3, issue 4, and issue 5. There was also an issue 6, but I could not find that one. Hopefully it'll turn up at some point. But it's just a cool series, and these Mark Nelson covers are really nice. It has a really kind of an 80s indie vibe to it, just the way it's, the colors and the black and white interior. It is pretty cool. Okay. So X-Men run fillers. We got 229. 230. Nice Jim Lee cover on 271. And Jim Lee again on 272. I think this one looks a little bit nicer than 271, which is kind of busy in my opinion. But yeah, I think there's one issue that I'm missing in between. I don't know, probably the 160s and 300. I think I'm only missing like one issue in there, 236, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just a random issue. I'll find it at some point. All right. I think I'm gonna, I'm at 17 minutes already, so I'm gonna do this next little run of books, and then I'll stop the video and finish the haul in a second part. All right, so I am trying to recreate my run of Transformers, the Marvel series. I have almost every issue from when I was a kid, except for issue 59, which really annoyed me because it fell like, I had a subscription to it when I was a kid, and 59 fell in between like the last issue of my subscription and when I renewed it. So annoying because it was it was the final part of the first storyline that Simon Furman did when he came on the book, and of course now it's like a $20 book, and people grab them up as well, so I don't know. I will find it at some point, but for now I'm just kind of concentrating on getting the issues in between, because I have nice copies of, I think, 1 up through 22, so I was trying to get 23 up to like 50. So I found a copy of 23. It has the first appearance of the Battle Chargers. I think that's what they were called. Anyway, Run Amok and Runabout are there on the cover. Not a particularly great issue. Kind of amusing because they're just kind of morons, but yeah. Anyway. And then I found a copy of number 24. This is a frustrating issue because it's the death of Optimus Prime, but it's done in the dumbest possible way. Where, first of all, like, it's a battle between Optimus Prime and Megatron done in a video game. Like they upload their consciousness to this video game or something. And why they agreed to do this, I don't know. I mean, I don't remember, but I don't think it would make much sense anyway. I don't think they would really do that. Certainly Megatron wouldn't. Especially since they were, I mean, in the story they were agreeing to, abide by whoever wins in the game wins in real life too. So it's, I mean, I think Megatron was planning to cheat anyway, but it was still stupid. And then Optimus Prime wins in the game, but he does so by sacrificing a bunch of NPCs basically to kill Megatron in the game. And so he says, "Oh, because I sacrificed these innocent lives, I have to lose," even though it was just a game. They weren't real. It was so dumb. Anyway. Also found a copy of Transformers number 29 with the... I think the Triple Changers first show up in this issue. Astro Train and Blitzwing. Yeah. It says right here on the corner, introducing the Triple Changers. I'm trying to remember because I haven't read any of these comics in, God, like 30 years. Yeah, at least 25 years. And then issue 30 with the throttle bots. Yeah, they were... Let me see if I can remember their names. Hang on. All right, there's Chase, Freeway, Searchlight, Roll Bar, and Wide Load. And then Goldbug was one of them as well, but he was basically Bumblebee after he was rebuilt when he got blown up in the G.I. Joe and Transformers miniseries. He got rebuilt as Goldbug. But yeah. I remember a lot of this stuff. All right. Found issue 38. This was the first issue where the Headmasters come to Earth after the Headmasters miniseries. So you got Fortress Maximus and Scorponok. And this is where there's like some kind of rivalry between Scorponok and Ratbat, of all characters, over who should lead the Decepticons. Well, and Shockwave, he was in there too. Speaking of whom, Transformers number 39. I think this is the issue where Shockwave supposedly dies, although it turns out he didn't die because he shows up later on in the Simon Furman run. Yeah, I vaguely remember this stuff. 41. I was really excited to find this because my original copy lost its cover many years ago, and I didn't really even remember what it looked like. But this is the issue where Blaster and Grimlock fight on the moon over who gets to lead the Autobots. Or was it Blaster and Grimlock, or was it Fortress Maximus and Grimlock? Now I can't remember. It's been a really long time. And then, of course, while they're up there, the Decepticons attack and start blowing away a bunch of Autobots, and they realize, oh, they need to put aside their differences and fight the Decepticons. So, it's one of those stories, but it's kind of cool. Definitely cool when you're a kid and you love the Transformers. All right. And then making the whole issue of who's going to lead the Autobots moot. It's issue 42, where Optimus Prime returns as a Power Master. Turns out the dude who was running that video game uploaded his consciousness into I kid you not, a floppy disk. And then it was used to restore him. I forget how this happened, but this is on the alien world of, what is it, Nebulon? Or Nebulos? One of those. Where the Headmasters miniseries was set. So that's where this takes place. I don't know how that floppy disk gets here, but, I mean, I don't remember. Apparently it does, because that's where Optimus Prime is reborn as a Power Master. And then issue 44. This was like an issue where there's an earlier issue where there were some kids who got caught up in some battle with the Transformers, and Skylinks kind of took them off the planet. I think that was issue 36, and then in this issue you finally see what happened to them, and they're like basically trapped as slaves in this alien carnival or something, and it's pretty dumb. And I think this is a story where Optimus is trying to get back to Earth or something like that, so he ends up at this place, and I don't know what happens, but in the end Skylynx and the kids go off into space again. I think you don't see them again until like one panel of one issue later on, where it's like, oh, and they came back to Earth. And Poochie died on the way to his home planet. But yeah, Optimus Prime apparently just leaves them wherever he finds them. He's like, see ya, suckers. I'm on my way to Earth. I'm gotta lead some Autobots. Alright, 47. It's the first appearance of the Seacons. And it's the first part of the 4 issues that led up to issue 50, the Underbase saga, I think is what it was called. There's like this energy source that's flying through space, and everyone wants to steal it to make themselves super powerful. So you got 49, where some kind of Decepticon civil war, and Starscream is plotting to take the power of the what is this, the Underbase? I think so. Whatever it was called. And then issue 50, where Starscream gets the power, but it turns out that, surprise, surprise, the power is too much for him and it blows him up. Was that anticlimactic? I don't know, whatever. It was still kind of a cool story. It was basically the last interesting story that Bob Budiansky told on the series, because I think after that it was all like, I don't know, weird aliens in space and Transformers in a wrestling ring, stuff like that. It was like kind of crap stories. So anyway, I'm gonna pause this here, and then I'll do the rest of the haul in a second video. So stay tuned for that.